Kidversations, small voices, big stories. Hi, my name's Charlotte. Welcome to Kidversations. Today we're interviewing Judge Rose from Kingsport, Tennessee. Welcome, Judge Rose.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You mind if I ask you a few questions today?
Not at all. I'm looking forward to it.
How long have you been a judge?
So I've been two different kinds of judges. So for total, I've been a judge for 8 years. My first role as a judge was as city judge for the city of Kingsport. But then last year in September, actually in August of last year, I was elected circuit court judge for the 2nd Judicial District of the state of Tennessee.
I didn't realize that judges were elected. How are judges elected?
It's a great question, Brantley. So not all judges are elected, okay? Some are appointed. As a matter of fact, when I was city judge for those 8 years, I was appointed by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Kingsport. And so I didn't run for election, and I wasn't elected by the citizens. But circuit court judges, state judges, trial court judges are elected. And they're elected by the voters. And so my county that I ran for election is all of Sullivan County. So that's all the way from Blountville, Kingsport, Bristol. And it's an 8-year term when you run for judge for circuit court. And there are criminal court judges, and there's circuit court judges, and chancellors. And they're all three have different roles and different jobs and responsibilities. And I'm circuit court judge for Sullivan County.
What is a circuit court judge?
There's criminal court judges, and they hear all the issues relating to crime and criminals. Mine are just civil, related to injury cases. I do anything related to, money type cases, but there's civil and there's criminal, and I'd handle the civil side of cases.
Why were you a judge?
When I started practicing law 20 years ago, I decided that that was something that I wanted to do at some point in my career, because as an attorney and just in my personal life, I really strongly believe in service and giving back to your community. But that's why is my passion for service.
You said you were in Kingsport. Where else have you been?
So I hear cases in Kingsport, and I hear cases in Blountville, and I hear cases in Bristol. Those would be my 3 courthouses where I have and hear cases.
Do you have to wear a robe?
So judges wear robes. Yes, we wear robes. We wear black robes. And do you know why we wear robes?
No.
So judges wear robes as a way to show impartiality and to give the seriousness of court. Do you know, Brantley, who was the first judge to start wearing the black robes?
No.
So in 1801, Chief Justice John Marshall was the first to ever wear a solid black robe. Before that, judges would wear trimmed type robes or robes with certain colors on them, but he wore the solid black robe, and it just kind of has been the tradition that judges wear those robes since then.
Whenever you wear a robe, do you ever feel like you're wearing a dress?
It's funny you mention that. Some people refer to it as a dress, but I do not feel like I'm wearing a dress. I think that the seriousness of it, what we're doing in there, and big decisions get made in the courtroom that affect people in a lot of different ways. So I don't think of it that way.
Have you ever made a decision in the courtroom that you've ever regretted?
I think that as a judge, you try your best to make the decisions based upon the facts that are before you and the law that's there. Sometimes the law isn't always clear, and attorneys representing their clients will argue different positions, right? Someone will think that they're right, and the other side will think that they're right, and they kind of go back and forth. And as a judge, you have to decide who's telling the truth, who's right, and they both may be telling the truth, and it can get very difficult to decide who's telling the truth in those different, back and forth kind of battles between one another. And I don't know that you regret making the wrong decision or you think you've made the wrong decision, but you certainly you can struggle in making what you believe is the right decision.
How do you tell who's lying and who's telling the truth?
So if you have a lot of the same witnesses as who comes in to give the testimony, right? That's who comes in to testify. You have the parties of a case, so you'll have a plaintiff on the civil side and a defendant. And so they will give their versions of what happened, and then witnesses can come in to kind of support and give credibility to various sides. When you're breaking that down, it's body language, it's the way that they appear, that kind of gives you an indication as to whether or not they're telling the truth. And the judge is constantly watching all those different witnesses and seeing how they're answering questions, and then ultimately seeing kind of what ultimately makes sense given that set of facts.
Do you wear wigs, like those wigs on TV?
No, but that's a good question. They used to wear wigs.
When I was younger, I always thought that was their real hair.
Really? Yeah. It's I'm not far from it. I'm getting grayer and grayer by the day, but no wigs.
I see you brought your hammer thingy. What does it mean to hit it, on the thingy?
So this right here, this is a gavel, and that's what judges can use to try and make sure they have order in the court. So if people start talking over one another, or if people have outbursts in the court, you've probably seen on TV before that a judge will take it and hammer the gavel on the desk, okay? And I do not do that. I never have actually ever struck the gavel. But sometimes it's needed in order to try to get everyone's attention and to maintain order in the court is why it is used.
Can we hit it?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I don't want to hit it hard. I
It's
don't
okay.
want to break the table. Oh, that's loud. I didn't know it was going to be that loud.
Do you need to? I don't want you to miss
sure.
out too.
Yeah, you did that way softer.
So you've never used it in a courtroom?
Never have, and if comes a time that I have to, I've got it there ready to use, but so far I've never had to use one.
Why haven't you ever hit it?
Well, that's a good question. It's as I said, it's used to maintain order in the courtroom, so I've been fortunate that I've not had any outbursts or any issues where litigants or witnesses that are in front of me have ever done that required me to have to use the gavel.
Would you like to have the chance to hit it?
I tell you what, when we're finished with this at the end, I will do it.
Okay.
To end the interview. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to plug my ears because I know that I barely hit it and it went so loud.
It is loud.
Have you ever had to throw somebody out?
No, so I never have had to throw anybody out, but sometimes judges will have to have litigants or witnesses to escort out of the courtroom. And the way that is done is in the courtroom we have different folks that are in there that help the judges out, right? So we've got a clerk who sits in there with me, and she helps swear people in and swear witnesses in and make sure she receives exhibits and does things like that to help the process of the case go forward. And we have bailiffs who provide the security for the courtroom. They provide the security and protection for the judge and everybody else that's in the courtroom. And so if someone does do that and they have to be asked to leave, then I would have the bailiff and instruct the bailiff to escort them out of the courtroom. And I think a lot of the times that you see that is more on television for show, and it makes it look, entertaining in the courtroom and the judge to have to ask people to move out of the courtroom. But in real life, we don't have that happen very often. But it does happen.
Have you ever had any case that's silly or funny?
So there's a lot of times the cases that are in court are really serious and a lot of important things that are going on in there that affect people's lives. And And so a lot of times it's not really that, funny, and there's not things that are going on that are really funny. But there are funny things that happen in the course of a case. Sometimes people will say something that's funny, or they'll misspeak, or something will happen that's funny. But typically when people come into court, they're nervous, they're really anxious about what's going to happen, and they're really things that can affect them in really, really big ways. So a lot of times they're not really that funny. But
How are you 100% sure that you're safe in the courtroom?
I think that I am very lucky as the judge that we've got great deputies and officers within Sullivan County that love their job, that take it very seriously, that have a passion for what they do. And I think that in any job, if you do it well to the best of your ability, then you're going to be good at it. Right? When people come into court, in order to kind of help that, they have to go through multiple measures of security. You can't bring cell phones into courtrooms. A lot of people don't know that. You cannot bring a phone in. And you can't bring backpacks or bags or anything else where people could try to hide weapons or things like that. So they really go above and beyond to make sure that the courtroom in of itself is safe. And then you have to go through a metal detector to make sure that even on your person that you can't bring anything into the courtroom.
Yeah, I've been to a police station before. We had someone. Anyways, I just saw the big courtroom, and there's a bunch of polices there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's crazy.
that's right. There are a lot of them around when we have court.
What about the people that work there? Do they go through security as well?
So they do not. So court officers and court personnel, like my clerk that I mentioned earlier, they do not go through the security screening. Just litigants, and those are, like I mentioned earlier, the plaintiff in a case or a defendant in a case will have to go through security, and any witnesses that are going to come into the courtroom. Or court is always open to the public. So if you all ever wanted to come and watch court one day, anybody can come and watch court whenever we have court. It's always open to the public.
Do you have to go through the metal detector?
I do not have to go through the metal detector.
If a court person, a judge, ever tried to hurt someone, like carried guns or something, would the police officers kill you or send you to jail?
Well, I hope that would never happen. That's a really interesting question. So judges take an oath, right, to uphold the law. And it's our job to ensure that that is taking place when folks come into court. So as an officer of the court, as the one that's in the courtroom, you would like to think that that wouldn't happen. But ultimately, if someone did try to do something in a courtroom, then yes, it is a court security officer's job to make sure that everyone in the courtroom is safe, including the judge.
Have you ever been scared that somebody would come after you or your family whenever you make somebody mad?
The job you're doing, when it does affect people, right? You're trying to do it with compassion and with fairness, and trying to apply the facts to what the law is, right? And so sometimes people do get upset, and they get very, very upset because it affects, like I said, a lot of important things about their lives and their livelihood. And but I like to think that if you're trying to do it the best way that you can, and you're trying to do it with compassion and understanding what that means to them when you make those decisions, that maybe they won't be so upset to come after you. But it is a thing, and unfortunately, in today's society and times, those things that we do have to be concerned about and think about outside of the courtroom.
Do you have any other hobbies?
I do. So when I'm not working at my job, I like to spend time with my family. That's one of the things that I love more than anything, is to leave work and to be able to come home and spend time with my family. And I love cooking. I'm a big, big fan of cooking. I like to cook in my kitchen. I like to make things, and it's fun to do that.
I really like cooking too.
It's really fun. Now, there's cooking and there's baking. right? I'm not really great at all at baking. I think it's because it's very, very precise on you have to do things the right way and you have to have this measurement. But cooking, you can kind of have a little bit of liberty with how things go and you can play with flavors and different stuff. So I enjoyed that part. But baking is tough.
I like cooking and baking.
You like both? Do you like baking cakes
Yeah.
or cookies?
I
Or
like
what?
cake just because I like the decorating part.
Oh, that is fun part of it. Do you like baking or
I've
cooking?
never baked.
Okay.
But I mean, I think it would be interesting to do it and fun.
It is fun.
What is that paper for?
Are we going to talk about it now? We can. We can go out of order and then splice it together. So this is a copy that I brought for both of you, so you can have it, and I'll leave it with you. And it's the United States Constitution, so you can read it, because this is a very, very important document that is what we're all based upon on our laws, on how we run the government. It talks about. Have you ever read the United States Constitution? Okay.
No, that's too much reading.
It is, but it's also important that you can have it and be familiar with it. And it sets forth, how we have the president and how we have our Congress and our Senate and why we have judges. It's all in here, and our founding fathers created this document, and it still has stood the test of time, and we still honor this and go by this. Is how we have our laws.
So if you ever regret a decision that you've made, can you change that decision?
So yes, there are ways that judges can fix if they determine that they've maybe made a mistake. Maybe they make a decision and find out that the law that they had changed. They didn't have the most up-to-date or recent law. A judge can do that, can change his decision, or the attorneys can file what's called a motion to reconsider that decision, and judges can then hear the case again and correct if they feel like they've made the wrong decision in that particular situation.
To get ready for today, I watched a courtroom show. Is it anything like that?
So those courtroom shows are designed to be more entertaining so that people will watch it.
So are all judge room shows fake?
With respect to the case that I got, it was a real case, and I was surprised that I got a letter from Judge Judy's show to have that case decided by her, because I wasn't sure whether all of those cases that are on TV are real or fake, because sometimes they can look a little embellished about, the actors and if they're actually real people. But I think that maybe they are, and maybe they tell them how to perform in the courtroom for TV purposes, but I do know that at least some of them are real because they sent me a letter, wanted that case that I had.
If a kid wanted to be a judge, what advice would you give them?
In order to be a judge, you first need to be an attorney. Okay, so they would need to make sure that they go to school and go to college, and then you have to go to law school after college. So it's a lot of schooling first. Right. And I think it's important to try to know the law well, to try to be respectful of everybody, to try to be honest always, to be very ethical. And to have your peers who are other attorneys have confidence in your ability to both know the law, to have a good temperament, that you're calm and you make good decisions in certain situations. Ultimately, I think doing your best at being an attorney and wanting to help people is a big part of wanting to be a judge.
So what if us kids see something that's wrong? Do you have any advice for what we should do?
I think it can be tough sometimes. I know that my children ask me that question sometimes about what to do if you see someone doing something that is wrong. I think always that if you know what you're doing is right and what someone else is doing is not necessarily affecting you but affecting them, that maybe you don't have to necessarily intervene in that. But if someone's doing something that is wrong, that's affecting other people and can be problematic, then I think if you can ask an adult or tell an adult or tell a teacher or someone that you know and trust to let them know what's going on, then maybe they can help. If it's a situation where you're with your peers at school or on the schoolyard and you see someone doing something that you know isn't right or something you don't think is right, you can tell them, right? You can go up to them and say, hey, I don't think that we should treat people that way. Maybe we should try to be nicer or kinder in that situation, and hopefully that, you set the example and people will follow your example in trying to do the right thing. So I told you earlier, I've never banged the gavel, right? Yeah. But typically when we adjourn court, we say that we're adjourned. So if this is the end of the show, I want to thank you all for having me. Thanks for having me and asking me the questions. I enjoyed it. I hope you all learned something today. And what we'll do is we'll say we're adjourned.
Okay, I thought that was going to be louder.
Thank you for coming here to join us.
Well, thank you for having me. I've really, really enjoyed being here with both of you today.
And we would like to thank you for joining us, too.
Don't forget, tune in next week at Friday, 6 p.m.
Bye.
Kidversations, small voices, big stories.